Senator Marco Rubio, good morning.
Good morning.
So first up, the debate last night heating up over the shutdown and the border wall, the president making his address. I just wonder if this changed the debate at all. Did this speech move the needle?
I'm not sure. You know, the problem we have right now is that the president was elected to do this, to secure our border. And then if you talk to Schumer or Pelosi or the Democrats, they would say, well, we were elected to stop him. And so we kind of have this sort of showdown here that's playing out. And there are parts of this country where the border wall and border security is, and 80% of people support it. And there's other parts of the country where 80% of the people oppose it. And they all have senators and they all have members in Congress. And as a result, you see this thing play out. But if we break it down to what we're talking about here, and if I would do anything different for the president last night, what I would have done is I would have made it very clear to people, the $5 billion is not just for a wall. It is $5 billion is the cost of funding the top 10 projects in a broader border security plan that was designed by the people whose job it is to secure our border. And he did say that this was designed by the people who were hired to secure our border. But the $5 billion is not just to throw it out there to waste money. It is what it costs to fund the top 10 projects in a much broader program that'll take multiple years. We'll have to come back and do more of this. It is not an unreasonable request. It is clear to me that the Democrats are objecting to it because they believe that if they can get the president to cave, it guts him, he implodes among his base, and it makes it easier to beat him in 2020. And that's where we're at this point.
One of the big questions heading into the president's address last night, Senator, was whether or not he would declare a national emergency. He did not. Do you think the president may be keeping this as a last play?
I don't know, and I don't even know how I feel about it. On the one hand, I want to see this done, and I think it's important to do it. On the other hand, I think we have to be very careful about executive branches, just members of the executive branch making emergency decisions and then by mandate and fiat being able to do something, because today President Trump may use it to do something we support, but 8 years from now we may have somebody else do it for something we do not. And somebody could say there's a national emergency out there on guns, and it could lead to some executive action without Congress being involved, or climate change or anything else. So I think that's why it's so important that, for me anyway, that I need to kind of take more time and look at how this has been used in the past and what the standard has been in the past. That said, there is no doubt that what's happening at the border is a catastrophe. It's not good for anyone except the drug and human traffickers. That's the only people winning here.
Finally, on this issue, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi immediately issued a response to the president's address. Based on what you heard last night, did we move any closer to ending this shutdown, Senator?
I'm not sure we did, and it's for the reason I pointed at the beginning, and that is both sides believe that the base of their party, the people who elected them, are strongly behind them. Neither side feels like they can cave and not pay a terrible political price. And unfortunately, the two things that are caught in the middle are securing our border, something everyone should be for, and the men and women in the federal government, the people at TSA, people working at all these different agencies who on Friday may not get paid, and then they're going to ruin their credit, and even if they get back pay, I mean, they're paying the price for this, and that's unfair. And so I do truly hope that we can find a way out and move forward and get something done here that helps secure our border and prevents that from happening.
Finally, on movement in the Senate, Chuck Schumer seems to want to stop any bill from coming up for a vote in the Senate until this shutdown ends. You co-sponsored a bill on security in the Middle East. That came up and it was blocked by Democrats. It sparked some controversy for some other reasons, but first, what was your response to that?
I don't know how the way to deal with a government shutdown is to shut down more government, which is what they're doing. In essence, they want to shut down the Senate. It has no precedent. The Democrats passed plenty of bills during other shutdowns in the past that had nothing to do with funding. And in this particular case, this is an urgent crisis. Israel, our allies like Jordan, the people of Syria are all in danger. And this bill tackled that directly. It combined 4 separate bills, 3 of them bills I had filed, put them all into one bill to tackle the BDS movement that's waging economic warfare against Israel, that entered into a security agreement with Israel for military defense, that entered into a similar agreement with Jordan, and that held accountable Assad and the people who are empowering him for their human rights violations. This is something 99 senators support, 98, whatever the number is, and it's absurd that they're voting and blocking something that needs to happen. There is a time sensitivity to that issue.
Rashida Tlaib is the new congresswoman from Michigan who sparked some controversy over some remarks that she made using some profane language to call for the president's impeachment. She also sparked some controversy surrounding that bill that you co-sponsored. She retweeted it with some remarks that were viewed as anti-Semitic. I know that you responded to the new congresswoman. What was your message to her?
Well, I think that language about having dual loyalties has been used in the past against all sorts of people, whether it's Catholics and Jews. It has certainly been linked to anti-Semitism in the past. It's the notion that you can't be a friend of Israel and also be loyal to the United States of America, when in fact, Israel is America's strongest ally in the region. It is one of its strongest allies in the world. And I would tell you that Israel, which is a pro-American, free enterprise democracy, if we had more of those in the Middle East, our jobs around here would be a lot easier. Our foreign policy would be a lot more stable. I am an unabashed supporter of Israel. I believe not only is it the right thing to do from a moral perspective, but it's in the national interest of the United States. And any argument to the contrary that somehow this puts our loyalty to the country in question has been used in the past and continues to be used by anti-Semites. That is an anti-Semitic dog whistle, and every time someone uses it, I'm going to call it out.
Well, I know she has recently apologized for some of her recent comments, although she apologized for the distraction, it appears. We'll see where all of this goes, and movement as far as foreign policy. Mike Pompeo heading to Egypt next after his surprise trip in Iraq. So we'll be watching all of this in coming days. Senator Marco Rubio, great to have you on the program this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.